Hey guys, I'm doing another video for you on jade plants, and I wanted to do this because I'm starting to get roots, and I wanted to show you that if you do have jades you're propagating or that get root rot at the bottom, you can save them. Now this looks rough. You can tell that the leaves are really, loose. There's no water in there, and that's fine. It's because this one rotted out on me, and I let it clouse over for about 5 days. And just let it hang out in soil. Don't wet it until you start seeing these roots. Now, one way I can tell roots are starting to show is by tugging on it. I don't like to pull my plants out of the soil like this because you can see how small and just delicate those roots are. So just make sure you're giving it a tug after a week, and this should be firm in the soil, and that'll give you a good idea that roots are starting to grow. Now, when you propagate from cuttings, let this end callus for 5 days or so. It's the thicker the stem, the longer it's going to take. Only spray when you start to see those roots or you feel that tension on the plant in the soil. Keep that soil dry until then. Now, these are little babies, and another way you can propagate is by leaves. So you can propagate by your cuttings or by your leaves. And these little babies comes out of this little leaf just like that. And I have a video on when to separate these babies off of the leaf and how to take them carefully apart from each other. You can tell these are clumping. I like some clumping, and that's why I left those. But these are all going to be individual, and that's cool. They're going to grow up and just be like these, nice and happy. And these clippings, even though they're you can tell they're not full of water, they're just starting to get roots, so they're just starting to fill up. These have quite a bit of water in them already. I just watered these a few days ago. You can feel they're nice and firm. They're not mushy. They're not squishy. They're not deflated like these, lacking water. That's a good indication you're lacking water. All this wrinkling here. Just make sure it's not squishy, because that means that it's overwatered. Now, when you're propagating from leaves, just let this end clouse for a day. It takes about a day or two. Let it clouse on a counter, tray, whatever. Leave it in dry soil. This isn't dry soil, just so you know. Just leave it in some dry soil and wait for roots to start to show on that, just like you did this cutting, and you will be fine. Babies and roots will start showing out of there. Then you can start spraying them lightly. Now, I don't soak my cuttings all the way through when they get little roots like this, because you can see that they're so small right now. They are not going to be sucking up much water. So you really don't want to soak them in water. You can see that little root just starting. Just give them a little spritz, a little spray bottle. That's totally fine. And they'll grow up and be just big like these. Now, all of these baby clippings stay in indirect bright light. They're in my lanai in a south-facing exposure, and they really don't like direct light at this stage. I can't stress that enough. They will wither away to nothing on you, and I don't want that to happen because it's happened to me. Now these excuse me, these cuttings will stay in here for probably about, I don't know, a good month or two until they start getting nice and big, and then I'll separate them just because I want them in their own pots. But you can leave them together in there. That's perfectly fine. Make sure your soil dries out at least 2 or 3 days between waterings, guys, because these jades do not like water. They don't like to sit in it. They don't like their roots wet for a long time. So just make sure before you're watering again, this soil is all the way dry to the bottom of your pot. Now, I keep drainage in all my pots. You can see drainage holes in everything. I don't grow anything without drainage just because it encourages rot to set in. So if you have any other questions or I missed anything and you're still having some trouble on any succulent you're growing, whether you're propagating it or just taking a clipping, please let me know. I love to help you guys. I just started this channel, and I just want to make it easier for you, because when I started, I couldn't grow anything. There's so much information online, and sometimes it can make my head spin just reading everything. So, sometimes it's easier to see it. I hope that helped you. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.